Hello and welcome back, Sharkeers, to another episode of Deep Dives with Sharks. My name is Alex. I'm the guy that tells you all the shark facts, and we find out if they're true or not. So far, a lot of them have been true, and if they're not, well, that's why we have Correction Corner. We've made it to another episode, and I got it out only a week late, which it's a holiday miracle. Now, I do hope that everyone had a good Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or any other holidays you guys might celebrate, and of course, an amazing new year as well. I want to thank you all once again for being here, listening when new episodes come out, and sending in requests and so many messages. I got a few really nice messages over the past couple weeks, and it's been incredible to get all these messages from Sharkeers across the globe enjoying the podcast and sending in suggestions. It's been incredible. I'm still rolling with the 3 shark episodes because in the couple weeks that it's been since the last one came out, it appears more people listen to the end of that episode, and, I'm just going to keep that going. So let me know what you think in the comments or on Instagram or really anywhere else. And of course, if you want to go back to the other way, let me know that as well. We'll try to keep going there and give you what you want, because if people like more sharks, we'll make that happen. And if they don't, well, we'll do less. But of course, you guys can follow along on Instagram at Deep Dives with Sharks, over on Twitch at Deep Dives with Sharks, and of course, a couple other places. I'll try to put a link tree up somewhere so that way we can hopefully get all those compiled somewhere. But to jump right into it, the first shark that we're going to do for this week is going to be six-gill sharks, specifically the Bluntnose Sixgill. Now, six-gill sharks are in the family Hexachidae. This family has more members that are extinct than alive, but they do have dogfish and Greenland sharks, so they have some sharks to spend the holidays with, which is rather nice. Now, these sharks kind of look like a mix between the dogfish and Greenland sharks, so it makes sense why they're all related, as they have a rounder head like the Greenland sharks, but a longer tail like the dogfish. These sharks tend to grow to be about 18 to 20 feet, or 5.5 to 6.1 meters. They do vary in size based on gender, as males will grow to be about 3.1 to 3.3 meters, or 11 to 14 feet. The blunt-nosed six-gill shark is usually tan in color, although some have been observed to be brown or even black. They have a distinct line that separates their counter shading on their light underbellies and their gray top. They often have some spots along their sides that kind of look like stains, and the older they get, the more stains they get. It's kind of like how humans get more spots and marks on us as we age, scars, liver spots, things like that, the whole 9 yards. Now, the six-gill is typically around 1,100 pounds when fully grown, or 500 kilograms, although they can get up to 2,200 pounds, or 1,000 kilograms, which is insane. They have a large round face that kind of looks like a Greenland shark, but it has more rounded nose and it's flatter on its face, smaller wide-set eyes, a wide mouth that has 6 rows of teeth that resemble the teeth on a saw. Now, that'd be on their lower jaw. Their upper jaw has smaller teeth that I'm assuming help with gripping things, but I'm not quite sure. I couldn't really find too much on that. These sharks also have fins, which is rather shocking. Their pectoral fins are lower on their body, similar to a mako's, and they have square pairs of caudal and anal fins. Their dorsal fin is above their caudal fins and is situated just before their tail. Their tail is longer on top than the bottom, which helps when they're swimming towards the ocean floor, because it's kind of hard to move if the entire time your tail is just dragging through the sand. It doesn't really get you to go too far. Now, as their name would suggest, they have 6 gills. Usually sharks have 5 gill slits, so these guys just get to breathe that much better. It's like having a third lung. And while that is a bit of a joke, there's also a lot of truth behind it. These sharks did evolve to have that 6th gill, as they inhabit areas of the ocean with little to no oxygen. Having an extra gill helps to bring in any oxygen that could be around, so if you feel like you need a little bit more air, stay away from a 6-gill shark. They're going to steal the breath right from your lungs. It's terrible. Now, the blunt-nosed six-gill shark can be found around every continent, except for Antarctica. They don't like the cold that much. They have been observed around the southeastern United States, including the Gulf of Mexico, the west coast of the U.S., Canada, Mexico, all around Europe, northern Africa, Argentina, Chile, Namibia or Nambia, I can't remember exactly how to say that country, Iceland, Madagascar, Japan, Australia, Hawaii, Greece, Malta, the Korean Peninsula, and southern Central America, from Honduras to Panama. So quite a few places there. They tend to spend their time around the ocean floor, but will travel through the water column off the continental shelf. They are often found between 180 to 1,100 meters deep, or 590 to 3,610 feet deep. Although they have been known to come to the surface as deep as 2,500 meters or 8,202 feet at the extremes. Juveniles often stay closer to shore, similar to great whites for protection and easier food source, but they're often not found too close. They do keep a little bit off the shore, so they're not quite as in as other sharks would be. Now, these sharks will migrate through the water column every day, searching for food specifically at night. Researchers discovered that they lose more energy swimming back down to deeper water than they use when they swim up to the surface, which led researchers to believe that they have an adaptation that aids with buoyancy to help conserve energy. Now, not only do the sixgills migrate daily, but they also migrate seasonally. They follow their food as the seasons change, moving across hemispheres at certain times. Now, what's really cool about these sharks compared to others is their ability to change the way they hunt and eat prey. Often sharks will stick to one method, such as nurse sharks utilizing suction feeding. But when sixgills switch from lateral and saw cutting when eating to ambush tactics, such as lunging their jaw forward to snatch and latch onto prey. Kind of similar to what a goblin shark does, but not quite as much as they can, because holy smokes, the goblin can definitely move its jaw. Now, this variety helped to allow for the sixgill to have worldwide distribution and feed on a variety of prey. Their prey includes rays, chimera, fish, shrimp, seals, squid, and crabs. If necessary, they will hunt outside of their normal prey to eat other sharks, bony fish, and even marine mammals. The sixgill shark is ovoviviparous, as many other sharks, and can have anywhere from 22 to 108 pups in a litter. So 108. I don't know why I said 108. It's fine. We get it. This could be why they are listed as least threatened despite being aggressively hunted. They have very limited interaction with humans, as we aren't in the deep ocean very often, and there are very few bites, but they do occur, as these sharks sometimes are targeted by sports fishers. Their season is short, which allows the population to not be damaged as badly, which may lead you to think, well, if their season is short, then how can they be aggressively hunted? And that's an amazing question. And that's just because they aren't being hunted by humans. You may have heard of the orcas, port and starboard, the absolute bums. They have been hunting sixgill and great white sharks around South Africa and removing the livers with surgical precision. When local authorities found the first sixgill shark with its liver removed, they believed that a fisher had caught it, removed the liver, and threw it back until after some time the orcas were observed to be the culprits. They have drastically diminished the populations around South Africa, but have not traveled the globe to hunt them to extinction. I mean, the orcas probably got distracted by some yachts, Remember when that happened? It's, I guess, kind of topical or old news. Whatever, we do it all around here. But that, of course, is what I have for the sixgill shark. We're going to jump right into the next one, which is going to be the Starry Smoothhound. Now, the Starry Smoothhound is a member of the hound shark family, which you may have already known or may have inferred simply by the name. They typically grow to be 140 centimeters or 4.58 feet, and have only been found in the northern hemisphere. They're not about that southern hemisphere life, sorry about that. They have been found around Europe and northern Africa, but they tend to stay out of the tropics because they don't like it too hot down there. These sharks tend to be gray, brown, or even bluish, with some white spots about their body. They have a long, slender body with fins that appear to have been thrown at a shark and just kind of stuck where they landed. Their pectoral fins are placed right below their head, their dorsal fin is about a quarter way down their back, and their caudal and anal fins take up the back half of their stomach. And their second dorsal fin sits above their anal fin, so it's nice and weird. Now, their tail is larger on the top than the bottom, and they're adorable, and I love them. These sharks often spend time around 200 meters or 660 feet deep. They tend to like either sandy or gravel seabed, so if you're decorating for a Starry Smoothhound, don't go with carpet or hardwood. They're just not going to appreciate it, despite all your efforts. Now, on top of that, the Starry Smoothhound has a rather limited diet that mostly consists of crustaceans such as crabs and various lobsters. They are ovoviviparous, which means that they will have eggs that hatch internally, and when they grow some more, they will be born. For these sharks, they can have about 7 to 15 pups that are about a foot long or 30 centimeters. For reference, a human baby is about 50 centimeters when they're born, so we're bigger, which means we win. So eat it. These sharks are near threatened, which means that they aren't endangered or threatened with extinction, but they aren't thriving to the point of no concern, but they're doing pretty all right for right now. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot known about these sharks, and there's not a lot on the internet. But as more comes out, I'm going to keep the Shark Heroes updated, because this was a quick one. So I'm going to keep them on the list a little bit. I'm going to kind of do a revisit list as well, and I'll put them on there because I feel like there's got to be more information out there about these guys, and I don't want to forget about it and think I've already completed them. So I'm going to look back in a little while and hopefully have some more information for you guys there. Now, of course, that means that we have already gotten to our last shark. And you guys may be thinking, well, this episode was a little bit shorter, I guess, but don't worry. Because we have come to the long-awaited, and one that I was very excited to research, the Blacktip Reef Shark. Now, these are easily one of my favorite sharks, and I 100% blame the Baltimore Aquarium and their Blacktip Reef exhibit. How dare you get rid of what was formerly just a lagoon full of rays to then make it this beautiful reef that houses so many blacktip reef sharks and so many beautiful things. The centerpiece of the aquarium is the blacktip reef. They have various rays, quite a few blacktip reef sharks, 3 zebra sharks, a wobbegong, and a variety of other fish. They also used to have a sea turtle named Calypso, but she unfortunately passed a few years ago, and oh my god, was she beautiful. May she rest in peace. But of course, we have another sea turtle behind the scenes. Their name is Kai, and I believe there are plans to introduce them to the exhibit in the future, but I'm not entirely positive. I have reached out to the Baltimore Aquarium a couple times regarding this and have not received an answer, and whenever I'm there, I forget to ask. So I will probably do that again and maybe update you guys if I remember to do it. Sorry, had to geek out there real quick. But the blacktip reef shark is a member of the requiem shark family, which includes the lemon and bull sharks as well as the white-tip reef shark. Now, these sharks were first discovered on an 1817-1820 expedition after it was caught off the coast of New Guinea. These sharks have been found in a wide range of areas, including South Africa, Madagascar, Andaman Islands, I don't know why I always struggle with that one, Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Indonesia, the Philippines, China, Hawaii, Japan, the Marshall Islands, Gilbert Islands, and Society Islands. Now, I do believe I saw juvenile blacktip reef sharks in the Galapagos Islands, but it was dark, and I am not positive on that, and it was also 10 years ago. So, memory tends to fade a little bit as time goes on. Also, that means that I graduated high school 10 years ago, and that fact just simply hurts my soul. For those of you that have not graduated 10 years ago, just wait. It feels very weird when you get to this point. But that is a total digression. Now, these sharks are about 1.6 to 1.8 meters long, or 5.2 to 5.9 feet, although some individuals can reach lengths of 2 meters or 6.6 feet. They're often used as a good basis for what the average shark length is, as many people know of the big ones such as great whites, tigers, threshers, and hammerheads that tend to grow to be about 4 meters or 13 feet or larger, but most sharks tend to be around the size of a blacktip reef shark. Now, they are gray in color with black tips on their fins, hence the name, and they have a rounder face with eyes that sit close to their nose. Their face is also kind of like flat, like vertically, so it kind of looks like the front of their head was squished a little bit and pulled out, but it's very smooth. It's you got to see them. They're beautiful. Now, their fins are smaller, with a pair of pectoral fins, anal fins, and caudal fins. They also have dorsal fin that sits pretty much at the center of their back. Now, their bodies are slender, and they move through the water rather gracefully, unless they're hunting. Then they move rather frantically. Now, the blacktip reef shark often travels in groups, as do many reef sharks, and will hunt in groups as well, as it appears to give them more confidence, because, sometimes you just be timid. Now, there are one of the most abundant apex predators among reefs, and have one of the largest variety of diets I've seen since doing this podcast. So buckle in, this might take a minute or two, but they mostly eat fish found around the reef, such as mullet, grunters, groupers, jacks, wrasses, surgeonfish, mojaras, smelt whitings, octopi, squid, cuttlefish, mantis shrimp, other shrimp, and they'll eat smaller sharks and rays. But around Australia, they'll also eat sea snakes, and around the Palmyra Atoll, they will also target seabirds. Now, you may think that wasn't too long, but we're not done yet, because they've also found random things in their stomach that include turtle grass, algae, coral, bryozoa, hydrozoa, stones, and rats. How in the world they're eating rats? I don't know, but that one really threw me off. But that's just to name a few of the things that they eat. Now, around India, the blacktip reef shark will force its prey closer to shore, making for easier eating. Of course, when they get further in, they can hang out a little bit, but the animals that they're hunting tend to panic as they get closer to the shore, forcing them back towards the sharks. Now, these sharks are highly curious and will investigate divers if they're splashing water around or banging metal equipment against hard objects. But they don't see color very well because, they're just cool like that. They're social justice warriors. We love it. But their eyes have evolved to see movement rather well, so what they lack in color, they make up for in movement. They can identify small objects about 5 to 10 feet away from them, which doesn't really sound that impressive because, we tend to think we can see a lot further. But truthfully, we can't really see anything underwater, so they got us beat. Even with goggles, we can't see that far because water tends to be pretty dense and block light at certain distances, so everything just kind of is blue, which I recently realized, oh, wait, that's probably where Out of the Blue came from, because wouldn't that make sense how things just kind of appear? But no, I was wrong. Actually, Out of the Blue comes from a saying from the 1800s, a bolt out of the blue, because there was a random lightning strike on a blue sky day, apparently. So, yeah, I'm disappointed. But I'm going to make a petition to change that because Out of the Blue sounds so much better when related to the ocean. Anyway, we're getting really off topic. But when it comes to mating, females will typically have a line of males following them as they will release chemicals into the water known as pheromones, and that gets the males to come a little bit closer. The males will often bite at the female around her fins or gills, as many sharks tend to do while mating. Now, blacktip reef sharks are viviparous, which is one that we have not used very often, which means they give birth. So there's not really a whole lot of eggs or anything involved there. It's just mama and little baby sharks. Now, they tend to be pregnant for around 10 to 11 months and then travel to shallower water to give birth to about 2 to 5 pups. So not the most we've heard either, but that's not a huge gestation period, so they can pump these guys out pretty quick. Now, these pups then form large groups for protection and to help with hunting, because when you're a small shark, you need a little help, and having a lot of little guys with you makes hunting a bit easier, and getting picked off a lot less likely, especially the larger the group. These sharks have a lot of human interaction as they spend time close to shore, and divers tend to like reefs. Despite this, there have only been 21 bites, with 11 being unprovoked in 65 years of keeping track of the data, which is staggeringly low numbers. Now, they are very timid around humans and tend to flee rather than fight. Now, I did find that incredibly interesting, especially since I learned that in 1982, researchers initially thought that the blacktip reef shark closest relative was the nervous shark, but in 1988 they added 4 more sharks that were discovered to be closely related, and in 1998 that expanded to 10. So for those of you a little bit confused, yes, there is a shark called the nervous shark, and I love that, and you get to learn a little bit more about that if we do an episode on them. So, just saying. But blacktip reef sharks are listed as vulnerable because they are hunted for their liver oil, their fins, and their meat. But they're not considered to be in danger of overfishing or considered commercially important, really. But it is possible to be overfished if the conditions are not monitored and, of course, if protections are raised. You can see these sharks at many aquariums. As they are smaller, they reproduce pretty easily, and they're relatively easy to care for by staff, especially when compared to other sharks such as the great white, which they've unsuccessfully kept in captivity. So they just kind of keep having to get rid of them, or they end up dying, which isn't great. But the blacktip reef shark, it's in quite a few. But that is what I have for this episode. I want to thank you all once again for the millionth time probably for listening to this episode and all the other episodes that you've listened to and hanging out, interacting, everything there. Follow along on the Instagram at Deep Dives with Sharks. Same thing for Twitch. Also, if you want to come hang out and chat, send a DM, anything like that, you're more than welcome to do that. I tend to run more polls and stuff on the Discord and over on Instagram. But, thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves as well. If you stay to the end, you're going to get a little mental health pick-me-up, I guess. I don't know. But just take care of yourselves. Give yourself a little slack. Make 2025 incredible. And I will see you in the next one.